You know, there's only so much that you could use in Fortnite. But we did see in that end game, when players were up in the air, him and Tayson were punishing everybody. But now it's time. It's game number 2. Let's get into it. Let's see where all these players go. Is everyone hitting the same drop, or are we switching it up? What are you doing after game 1?
Ooh, you know, I think game 1 is a little too early to switch drops, especially with 12 games in total. Now, if this was standard 6, right, maybe I'd be looking back at the VOD, looking at a replay, trying to understand where maybe some of these players didn't necessarily go, or who struggled a little bit more off spawn looting, or where a place that realistically has enough loot to make work and continue moving forward. But interestingly enough, it doesn't look like we're seeing too many changes here as of right now. But this is game 2, folks. This is where you really start to make your mark. And if it's still not working for you in the second game, I think the next game you got to make some changes.
And we're going right back here to Daily Bugle. It was where the first elim happened of game number 1. We saw Arkram and Falconer go down. So now playing a little differently, not going for the straight 50-50 off spawn. We're going to be in 2 separate buildings, grab some loot. Arkram, Falconer holding that central building. Then we actually see a split there by Jelty and Vico playing different positions, different buildings. And it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to engage this fight, because you won off spawn in game number 1. Now, do you decide to force it, or are you just going to be comfortable taking whatever you can get and moving on, trying to play for placement after this?
That's the real question. What are you going to do after this moment? But honestly, with every player that we see in this lobby, we probably have almost a different answer, because the variety of minds that we're seeing here. Just like here in threats, we see one of those strats coming out there in the tents and being able to utilize some different weapons there, carrying from game to game. So definitely going to be interesting to see what loadouts persist from them going into these next few. But it does look like they're not the only ones, because Steno here looking a little stacked there with those 2 rifts.
Yeah, they were one of our best teams, and utilizing the same thing that just got them to that end game. We see the mud flap. They didn't have the tires this time. They'll probably find some along the way, but using the vehicles, utilizing the mud flap is so strong. And we saw it there in game 1. If you're able to keep this thing up and prevent anyone from destroying it, it is so useful during these end games.
I mean, listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Like, and this is something that worked for them, and they're going to continue to use it until it doesn't. But speaking of things that are now working for Arkram and Falcon, they find themselves on the high ground here in Daily Bugle. This is definitely a huge change for them, because they're still up, right? They did not go down immediately like they did in game number 1, and they should be able to at least have a bit of a better advantage on some of these teams in the area.
An interesting thing about this duo, this is the only full duo that competed together during Duo World Cup, so they have that experience competing at a high level against top-tier talent, and also doing so together. They may not be the freshest right now, but still, I will take that experience. If I'm coming into this, I would much rather have that experience playing together, playing in the spotlight, rather than this being my first LAN, because for a couple of players, this is probably the first time that they're in front of a crowd and in front of their peers. Now tuning into this fight here at Coney Crossroad, we saw it happen last game. Tripper, Thomas, going at it against King and Siyun.
And they're not the only players here in the area either. So Hellfire now going to need to take a back seat for a second and just focus on healing up. I think that's one of the things that is overlooked often here in Zero Build, but shots just rain in. Tripperin not missing a shot. FaZe King gonna go down. Now his teammate left to try and get him back in this game. You see King doing a good job of hiding and actually returns fire and knocks Tripperin. Now it's Siyun gonna be able to get his teammate back in the game, and Hellfire now needs to try and get Tripperin.
Just trading the knocks, but it looks like Siyun's gonna be the one that wins that trade, because he's able to get his teammate up quicker, and he's going for this finish. He's trying to get involved here, but only one weapon in the inventory. I say only, but that combat AR is so strong, it's going to be able to get significant damage. Now we do see everyone has seemed to slow down. Looks like Scram and Andelix are nearby, but nonetheless, Siyun not going to try and get this finish just yet. Gonna get back to his teammate, relax, and Andelix, Scram, now peeking through the window, asking, can I serve you some shots?
Through the window, through the wall, they're looking to connect here as these players get closer and closer here to Scram. But looking at Siyun, he is actually going to break out the back. So him and King should be able to stay alive here and not try to spend too much time. But of course, as I say that, Hellfire connecting some incredible shots.
Dude, the aim in some of these players is just unbelievable. And we see the zero builds. You can't hide behind anything if you don't have that cover. More shots coming through. Halnada just putting it all over the place. Anyone that walks by can get some shots. We do see the flare gun being used, trying to get that info, and another team comes in. That's going to be Halnada that goes down, and also look like we saw a player get knocked on the other team. Yeah, Trippern goes down as well as Andalex. So two duos having a player knocked, Scram now having to circle back and try and get his teammate, but I don't know if that's going to be able to happen as Trippern gets knocked and we see the full finish.
Well, remember here, SVG, the cow catcher on front of a vehicle like that will destroy anything in its path. So all he has to do is drive over the card and then run away. That's it. So if he can wait until these players are not necessarily as focused on Andalix's position, he should be able to get him back in the game. But with all this action continuing to unfold here close by, I don't see that actually happening very easily.
And we do see the full finish come through. That's actually beneficial to Scram because, like you said, he could just drive over that with the vehicle and keep on moving. But Scram's going to start shooting back, does get some shots to come through, but Hellfire going to look to disengage as well. Scram watching the disengage happen, trying to decide, am I going to shoot at this? Yeah. That's my shots. And back in my vehicle, back to try and get my teammate back up because that should be the focus for him right now. Playing as a solo, you're at a huge disadvantage. You're down 5 inventory slots. You're down a multitude of damage output possible, as well as possible HP. So we do see him circle back. He's going to try and grab the card, likely dive into Storm to a POI that is well beyond to hit the reboot and get his teammate back in this game.
Yeah, looking at the inventory of Siyun there, that combat AR is something I really want to focus on. But speaking of focus, it's Vico. Now actually getting the knock onto Falconer. So Arkram now is a solo player, gonna get jumped on here by Vico and Jelty. Huge tags come through, but Arkram just trying to shockwave, actually uses the Portafort, but unfortunately finds himself underneath, has to exchange fire, and unfortunately it isn't gonna work out in his favor as Vico gets that elimination. Now 2 elims on the board here for Jelty and Vico, and honestly, that's the start you wanna see.
It is definitely what you want, and that's now 2 games in a row where they're able to get 2 eliminations off spawn, put themselves in a great position. That's 2 points per elim, so 8 points just off spawn. Now you get to continue. Now you get to start to look for those placement points and maybe see some eliminations later on. Now we see Mansour and Fahad making that rotation with the vehicle, but staying on edge, not getting too far in. They want to play towards this outside of the storm, and we can see all the players positioning fairly well spread out right now, but zone and storm is going to get smaller and force them in.
Is going to force them in, but you know, central zones don't necessarily present themselves too often. We've been watching a lot of zones here with recent FNCS, and it feels like they've been heavy to the north. So to see a central zone like this one is actually kind of exciting. So players that land tilted towers or any of those areas around there should have a pretty considerable advantage. But speaking of advantages, it looks like Lee King is going to lose his as Polga now left as a solo player, and it looks like it was actually potentially Rogue Shark that was able to pick that up.
Yeah, some shots came in the distance. Now Rogue Shark and Knight looking to sneak here into the Rave Cave. We see some players in the area. That's Queasy, that's Hen on the outskirts of the Rave Cave. But they're not the only ones. Thomas HD Tayson. It's a party here down in the Rave Cave. Everyone loves to blast some music and hang out. And we see now Rogue Shark and Knight looking to get involved. As Macwood's going to get there, a knock on the Chapix. We see that in the feed. As take a look at what the vision is from Queasy. And it looks like 2 players just staring right at one another, waiting for someone to make the first move.
But speaking of teams waiting, it's Z Andy and Bloomy both finding themselves in storm here. So this could be a possible 2v1 here for Arab and Bloomy if they end up seeing Z Andy close by, but it really depends. But also some other teams here close by here just on the edge. It's actually Macwood, Chapix, and Threats. These are some top tier NA talent on top of obviously Chapix being from EU. Not necessarily rotating, not necessarily fighting either. But Arab now looking to connect any shots that he can as they rotate through a storm.
Yeah, they're just playing in, waiting till players move out of their way and trying to get a freer rotate. That's something that Arab's known for, is playing in Storm to avoid being seen and using that to his advantage to get the best rotate or the freest rotate possible. It's not always the best, but you know, some may say if you don't take damage, that could be the best rotate. Now tuning in with our phase duo of Bizzle and Dubs here, making the rotate in. A lot more cars this game, Panda.
A lot more. I think people are starting to realize the value in the vehicles, because if you think about it this way, obviously in standard competitive modes, which is where most of these players come from, they're not used to having vehicles readily available for them to drive with. So for a Bizzle and Dubs, this is definitely going to be a change, but not only a change, an advantage in the inventory for this duo. We talked with Bizzle beforehand, getting his insight and going into these games, and his game plan is very effective, right? It's very effective, and it should keep him towards the top. And I'm interested to see if that game plan is going to be able to unfold here in game number 2.
And not only does he have a plan, as we see, Queasy did take out Knight and Rogue Shark there in the feed, but Bizzle is also one of the most experienced in-person gamers. He has the experience, he has the accolades as well, not only just experience, but also succeeding when he plays at a big event like this. So we'll see whether or not that continues for him, but historically, he's one of the best that you could ask for, as we do see Bloomy, Arab, staying on the outside of zone once again, looking to play this slow, not necessarily looking to get in, as we see some Falcon and Falcon Crime. FHD taking out Spy, and they're battling as well.
The battles continue on, but for Bloomy and Arab, they're going to try to use their first rift of the game. Interesting timing, right? I do understand that there was quite a bit of contestation on that rotate, but still feels a little early for a rift play, especially with the value in the rifts there going into the end game. But regardless of that, now the focus is on getting to the center, and look at that zone. This is going to be tough. The elevation here is really, really important for these teams, and it looks like somebody has already positioned themselves ready to go.
Yeah, you see that, those two yellow arrows in the middle of the zone, in the middle of the screen. Those guys, they're kicking back. They're like, I couldn't ask for a better zone than this. Likely going to be a team that lands tilted towers, because it's going to be hard for anybody else to get that position fast enough. Now we're tuning into the outside of this zone. Scope and Blake looking to try and perform better than they did in the previous match. They went down a little early. Definitely have the caliber to stay up, as we see Acorn able to get a knock there in the feed. But talking about caliber, Queasy and Hen, they're my prediction to win this thing here, Panda. And I mean, Hen is so confident, really believes that he can do it as well.
He definitely does, but listen, I believe a lot of players here believe that same exact thing. We talked to him, right? Going into this, it was probably some of the most confident players I've ever interacted with going on to the day. So it's going to be interesting, right? But like Hen mentioned, he is not only confident, but he also has one of the strongest duo partners in zero build history. So it's definitely not only confident in his gameplay, but confidence that his team cohesion here with Queasy will be the deciding factor of them taking home the win. But now we switch over to Andalix and Scram. They're taking out the vehicles left and right, and that's what you need to see as players go down. Mansour now left as a solo, but unfortunately gonna end up going down. So that is a huge duo going down here pretty early, as Scram and Andalix end up picking it up.
Yeah, Fahed and Mansour were one of the duos that qualified yesterday, so coming in really strong, able to have a great performance in the qualifier and then advance to this. So you have to think the momentum's there, but again, this is a different kind of lobby. These are the best players that are going to continue to make it difficult every single rotation. Now we're tuning in with some teams going back and forth, trading tags. Looks like Cal and Nema taking some shots there on Dimitro and Milan, who aren't necessarily a fan of that, but they're going to have to hold this position, as Cal and Nema need to make this rotate into zone.
They definitely do, and it looks like the blessing in disguise in that rift coming from Mitro and Milan is going to allow them to start moving. But speaking of teams that need to move, it's Vidil hanging out here. Unfortunately, going to be the focus here of some of these other players, and needs to be super careful. It actually looks like it was potentially Thomas HD and Tayson kind of focusing in, trying to land some shots. But speaking of shots landing, it's Hen. And you see Hen on a border fort, all I got to say is run.
As you see Vadil getting knocked there, Nema trying to make a late rotate in the zone. He's looking for Amar. They got the elimination there onto Vadil. As we look back, see what happened to Fahed and Mansour going down there to Analex and Scram. Solid rotates by Cal and Nema here. Can't exactly get Amar just yet. He's making the rotate in, but now he's right out in the open. If Cal is able to find him, he's going to go down, but that's not going to happen. So he's going to get away from it from now, but he's still just right out in the open. Nema, Kyle, gonna have to make a rotate as we see some more fights happening. It's Dubs and Bizzle jumping on Kanata and Giannis is gonna hit the rift. He's 1 HP, he's gonna go down to the next shot. We'll see who's gonna be able to hit that because it is only a matter of time. There it is, he does touch the ground, but who knows for how long.
Touching the ground, touching grass, but unfortunately not going to be able to stay alive as Giannis is now out of this. And it was Thomas HD going to pick that up, but he's not done yet. Picking up, it looks like Mitro, but Milan actually getting the knock there onto Queasy. So it is a 1v1 here. Hen just trying to stay alive. He has so many things in his inventory to use, but unfortunately, it does look like he might end up going down, but no, he actually has slipped away as Thomas HD and Tayson end up taking that commanding position.
Another great position right here on the edge of fourth zone. This is where you want to be positioned just for a little bit. They're going to start taking shots at players in the air. We saw this in game number 1. Andalex is going to take out Acorn, and Acorn's actually going to take out Scope. So lots of action going on as Nut and Oak is just trying to rotate on in. They may wind up running into Tayson and Thomas HD, but it's actually Pilkey and SJ on top of this zone. They look like they were the team, but the fight going on right here. Thomas and Tayson hold their ground, turn aside Nut and Oakis, and you're not coming up. It's actually going down. Tayson's dropping in. He's trying to get the elimination. There's one. Thomas HD looking to clean it up, and Nut's just going to hit the rift and try and get himself into a better position. Tayson will clean up Oakis. But it looks like Thomas was chasing that one. I don't know if he'll come back down. Thomas is trying to clean this one up, and it's only a matter of time here for Nut.
Ooh, what a play there with the shockwave, but it's not going to be enough as Nutify ends up going down. You know, that's one thing I want to see more of, is using the shockwave to not only start a fight with a Portafort, but also break the bottom of it, causing them to drop down. So that could have been detrimental there to Thomas HD and Anas, but or Thomas HD and Tayson. But now Anas has his sights set with the heavy sniper in hand. This could be dangerous for Thomas HD and Tayson.
And they already have 3 eliminations just on Anas. So continuing that hot streak. Game number 1, as we heard by our awesome analyst desk, that was no fluke. These guys are really good at this video game, as we see Pink and Anas just pressuring Thomas and Tayson. This is some EU on EU action, both duos, some of the top players within the region. We do see the heavy snipes coming in and really putting a damper on this Portafort. The rotate's gonna have to come out in only a matter of seconds. As we see pressure continues, Anas gets beamed. He's gonna go down. That's Thomas HD cleaning this one up. And Pink might be next if he doesn't find a way. He actually goes in the wrong direction, and he gets cleaned up as well. So Thomas, Amar's gonna clean up Pink. Amar's still alive.
What did I just see? What a way to take them out. So Anas and Pink are game 1 winners, now out of this competition here in game number 2. And of course, it's at the hands of Thomas HD. 5 eliminations on the board. This is the comeback game. This is what Levin was talking about. He said Thomas HD, the most winningest player in zero build EU. So for him to be doing as well as he is, it is no surprise to us.
Definitely not. You see him consistently placing on the top of all these zero build cups. Another player goes down, but look who is in the mud flap, and they have the cow catcher on the front. It is Steno and Lucy just hanging out in their vehicle, and no one wants to peek out and take some shots on them, but Steno says, I'll peek out. You're coming for my vehicle. That's another knock and elim for him. Call it 2 on this game. Looks like Tayson's able to get one. Falcon FHD goes down. So lots of players, the action's being forced. Everyone in this zone as it shrinks.
As it shrinks here, Andalix now holding on here. The legendary heavy sniper in hand. Definitely part of the reason they've had some success in this end game. But now Lushi just driving around. You see the gas can. You see the repair torch from his teammate. This is a combo that will keep that vehicle alive for much longer, but now using the Rift to go. Interesting play. They'll probably drop down on the truck again, but no, Vico now 1 HP in a dream, ends up trying to use the boogie bomb, and a Rift comes through. Now Vico left alone. 2 HP in a dream. Jelty now getting back to his teammate, and now going to be able to get him some heals that he desperately needs to stay alive.
That's the support you want. We see Seti just hanging out in the vehicle. No one's home. Jelty's taking some shots at players above. And everyone's now jockeying for that position within these porta forts. Everyone wants to be able to claim this. It's Merstash and Bad Sniper, Jelty and Vico trading shots, going back and forth. Now Endelex and Scram jumping down below are going to take out Pilkey. Dubs and Bizzle are right there. They're getting involved. This is a three-way fight down below, and Merstash, Bad Sniper, just sit up here, let it happen below them, and enjoy the view.
Enjoy the view, but speaking of a view, Andalix has the view on everything going on. He's looking down here, all the players fighting. This is actually a really good drop for him, though. Bad Sniper now realizing so many players rifting, he's gonna try to connect anything that he can, but I think the focus of those shots are more to keep people off of his porta fort and keep people in the air or going towards the ground, because that's way easier to hit. But now, speaking of hits, it does look like Merstash actually picks up an elimination there just moments before. Dubs also getting an elim there too. Vico landing here, but still very, very weak. Actually uses the porta fort yet again, but now on Hydra, rifted, or actually shockwaved into Storm. He needs to be careful. Will he be able to make it back? It does not look like it, as Bad Sniper now floats down.
So many players are so weak. Naeed goes down. Now it's Dubs just sitting on the bush. He gets called out. That's some big shots that come through. It's Seti putting out the damage, but Seti gets it right back, and he's sent back to the lobby. It's Andalex sitting up top. They're in a great position. Him and Scram look to be trying to close out this game, but Vico and Jelty closing in, trying to grab their own position. Merstash goes down there to Jelty. Andalex looking to shoot back over to his teammate, but Scram looking for some shots. Down goes Bad Sniper, and it's just Vico looking for a play. Lushi goes down as well. Scram and Andalex are cleaning up this lobby. It's Vico in their sights. There is one more player. It's Jelty. Down he goes. Oh no, he stays alive and puts it up. Oh my goodness, Jelty.
The NA West Pro, Jelty, cleaning up game number 2. What a way to finish the game. I mean, come on.